Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Leadership Code. This is an episode of the Leadership Code, and this is the show where we talk about the secrets, the principles, and the ethics for being a compassionate, conscientious, people centered leader. And today's episode is going to be about creating your own script to thrive. For us to be people centered leaders, this is an incredibly important concept. And this is a concept that we don't often get in corporate leadership trainings or diversity and inclusion trainings or any other kind of trainings that we seek on our own, because the majority of these trainings are about the role or about the organization that is sponsoring them and about how you can help them. But there are not many avenues or channels or resources that allow us to look at what is it that we need to thrive? What is it that helps us thrive to be the leaders that we know we can be in all aspects of our lives? As your host of the Leadership Code, this is very important to me because I come from the perspective that if you want to thrive as a leader in your job, if you want to thrive as a leader in your career or in your professional space, you have to be able to thrive as a leader in all of your spaces. Because no matter how many hats you wear, and I've said this so many times before, no matter how many hats you wear, the head that these hats are going on is yours. And so it's not enough for us to address the hats we wear. We have to address the head that is wearing the hats so that that head, your mind, your body, your spirit can thrive as a leader across all of your spaces, whether that is professional development, whether that is community, whether that's social, whether that's family relationships, whether that's personal growth, career, financial, whatever it is. The way you are being in one space is the way you are going to be as a person in all of your spaces. So that is really the point of today's episode, of this episode of the Leadership Code, which again, whether you're joining in live or whether you're catching this later, welcome to an episode of the Leadership Code. This is a rarity. Most of these episodes go on the Paradigm Television Network channel, but I am streaming this because this is important. And this is going to be on the Paradigm Television Network later, as soon as this is done. So let's get into creating your own script to thrive. I want to talk about today how and why I created this very specific program and this topic about thriving. Because when I looked at the leadership trainings that are happening, when I looked at the personal development trainings that are happening, it became crystal clear to me that the biggest problem that's happening right now is, and really this problem stemmed from the Industrial Revolution overall, but it's become very salient in over the past decade or two. Hi, Tanya. It's become really salient over the last decade or two that our corporations, our companies, and even us, we are starting to think that, or we are continuing to think, or we are conditioned into thinking that people are interchangeable and that people are replaceable and that people cannot thrive unless they fit into these neat little boxes that society dictates, that social media dictates, really. And that's not the truth of our lives. Because if you think about social media, if you think about comparisons, if you think about all of these judgments that you are putting on yourself right now, and I'm going to get into those judgments in just a bit. But if you think about all of the pressures that you're dealing with right now, what you are doing is comparing how you are feeling on the inside to what somebody else is presenting on the outside. That's apples to pine cones, or maybe apples to poodles, or maybe apples to paper. I don't know. It's not an equal comparison. As human beings, we are not interchangeable. We are not replaceable. We go into every situation in our lives with our unique contributions, with our unique senses of self. But right now, that uniqueness that happens because of your lived experiences, not in spite of it, is getting minimized. And that is a huge problem in leadership development. And the reason I created this program, Creating Your Own Script to Thrive, or Create Your Own Script for Thriving, is to help us realize that we have to tap into our unique abilities and we have to own them. And we have to take 100% ownership of our journeys, of our mental well being, of our control over our own lives for us to be the leaders that we're being, because this is not what is being afforded to us in our professional and corporate spaces. And that is doing us a huge disservice. Think about, especially, and I want to talk about these judgments now. Think about, since COVID-19 has started happening, how many memes or posts, and I've said this jokingly in the past, but really think about it seriously. How many memes or posts or ideas you've seen about how if you don't thrive during this time, if you don't level up during this time, it is not a matter of time, it is a matter of your discipline. I am calling BS on that right now. And this goes back to me calling Maslow's hierarchy a pyramid scheme, because that's also what this ties into. We think that people are telling us that this is how we ought to be, and we think that is the only path to success and productivity and us leveling up. I'll tell you the truth about leveling up. I level up every single day in my own way. Sometimes that leveling up means me putting myself first, me putting my sanity first, me realizing that I don't need to compare myself to any other leadership coach or diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant out there. They have their unique gifts, as do I. There is no comparison there. Sure, there may be some relatability, but that does not mean we have to compare or that we have to judge ourselves. So if we are not comparing and if we are not judging ourselves, how do we then create our own script to thrive? It is by leaning in and by going on that inner journey of our own personal growth and development. It is by listening to that inner voice, listening to that instinct, that intuition, that intersection between logic and emotion that is telling us, that is compelling us to say there are certain other things we need to focus on, that we can create our own script to thrive. This is why I created this full 8 to 12 week training program. And this is also why I'm offering the masterclass this weekend, because everybody's script is going to be different, but there are going to be some commonalities in these scripts. And in Finding these commonalities, you build your community. All of us already have communities. There's no doubt about that. But what we're missing are communities that allow us, that empower us to lean in to our own ideas of thriving. Communities that empower us to say, you do you, whatever that means to you. The problem there is most of us don't know what you do you means because we've never unpacked it. We let our past experiences and our limiting beliefs and the judgments, criticisms, and sort of final, I don't know what you want to call it, judgments, but the final voice of other people dictate what we can and should be focusing on or what we can or should do. That's not the answer for us to create our own script to thrive, because every single one of us is going through our own hero's journey. Nobody's life, nobody's life journey is any more or any less than anybody else's. But the way we've been conditioned, the way our brains and minds and thoughts and actions have been programmed, we think these judgments matter when they really don't, and they shouldn't. Letting go of these judgments is not that easy because these judgments get attached to our ego. And our ego is going to dictate our actions. So it's not easy, but with intentional focus and strategic effort, you can detach that part of your ego so that you can define your own ideas of productivity, success, thriving, all of it. And really, it boils down to you realizing that you are 100% in control of your mental well-being. And I mean that from the well-being aspect and also from the mental health aspect. It is only when you realize that you're 100% in control of your life that even if you do have a mental diagnosis or a mental health issue, that you are going to seek out the professional help that you need. Until then, you are just going to look at all of these other memes and all of these other posts on social media and feel bad about yourself. It is only when you realize that you can make a conscious choice about the actions that you are going to take that you are going to experience growth. Yes, these conscious choices are going to be uncomfortable, but that is where your growth lies. The bad news is that you are going to be uncomfortable while you grow. The good news is that you are going to grow exponentially through your discomfort. So don't lean into the complacency of comfort. Get uncomfortable. This is the perfect time for you to take time to unpack this. That is a privilege that most of us actually do have in this society, in this current day and age, regardless of the rest of our circumstances in our lives. And what I mean by that, when I say that, I don't mean to minimize anybody having 4 kids and not being able to deal with that. I don't mean, I'm not minimizing anybody being unemployed and having to deal with that. I don't mean any small business owner who has lost their entire livelihood and having to deal with that. The way we react to that, the actions that come out of our reactions are 100% in our control. And that is what I do mean by that. And that I'm coming from a place of, I'm truly coming from a place of love. And I'm truly coming from a place of wanting to help, because I was there. My leadership journey into me being who I am started with me dying, started with me being taken out by a car that ran the red light. It took 11 minutes for the ambulance to get to me, by which point I was on the street and somebody just did not want me to get run over. So, regardless of what it meant for my brain and what it meant for my spine, they moved me to the side of the road so that I wouldn't get run over. 11 minutes for me to get to the ER. 11 minutes was all it took for everything I knew about my life to get wiped out. I saw the medical team working on my body. I was out of my body. When I came back, I was in excruciating pain. I had no idea who I was. I didn't know my own name. I knew I was a doctoral candidate because I just declared my candidacy 2 days before. That's something you never forget in your life for anybody that's gone through that. But beyond that, I had no idea who I was. What started after that, I call it a leadership journey now, but it was the most grueling, painful experience I ever went through in my life because all of a sudden, I was faced with the reality of I don't even know what any of these other people's expectations on me mean. I don't know who I am. That was my starting point. And I was stuck in that starting point for nearly 4 years. I did all the right things. I said all the right things. I finished my doctorate. I finished my doctorate after a traumatic brain injury, y'all. I defended my doctoral dissertation 3 years and 39 days to the day that I woke up, almost to the minute. And I defended it successfully. I became a doctor on March 22nd, 2012. My accident was January 9th, 2009. What changed in between then? Nothing. Nothing. Because I came out of that doctorate still not having a good sense of what helps me thrive. But what followed after that, when I had the chance and the space to say, okay, now that I've gone through all of these things that other people have expected, I'm not getting jobs. I'm not getting interviews. I'm not getting anything that I need to be the leader that I know that I am on the inside, was very sobering, was heartbreaking, because I thought it doesn't matter if I went through death. All I have to do is be this person that other people expect me to be, and I'm going to succeed. All I have to do is dot my I's and cross my T's exactly how other people expect me to, and I am going to thrive. The reality was that after my dissertation defense was done, that was the lowest point of my life because I had no idea who I was. I had no idea what I was good for. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I had no idea how I could impact other people. That was the reality of my life. But it also afforded me this incredible opportunity to say, okay, I've done everything that everyone else has told me success means. It's not worked. I haven't gotten a job. I haven't figured out myself. I haven't succeeded in any way. And it's not that I wasn't getting job opportunities. I just wasn't getting the kind of job opportunities that I wanted. And something in me kept stopping me from taking them. Now I know that was because on the inside, deep inside me, I knew I had to unpack myself so that I could figure out how to thrive. I knew that I could not follow somebody else's script for success and productivity. I knew I had to follow my own script. I just did not know what that script was. And I did not know I was on my own hero's journey. I did not know I was the star of my own show because I had been conditioned to never think that way. But the truth is, every single one of us, we are the stars of our own journeys. So we can be the owners and masters or mistresses of our own destinies. There are a million messages out there that are going to tell you you can't. My one message to you today is don't listen to them. You have this inner fire within you for a reason. You already know who you need to be. You already know who you want to be. You already know, or you at least know you have to figure out the specific things that help you thrive. Don't let anybody else get in your way of your thriving. You thriving has nothing to do with anybody else, not your husband, not your family, not your child. You thriving is a conscious choice that you make, even if that means 5 minutes a day while you're on the potty, even if that means 10 minutes a day while you're in the shower, even if that means 2 minutes a night before you pass out because you're so tired. The time that you carve out for yourself, however little or however much it is 100% in your control. And it is your time for you to focus on who you want to be. And we can do this no matter what our circumstances are. That is what this masterclass is about. So I want to talk a little bit about this masterclass so that you get a better sense of how you go about creating your own script to thrive. And so that in the masterclass, we are actually going to work through all of this. There are 4 workbooks we are going through. It's a 3-hour-long masterclass this Saturday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I will post the link for it in the comments after this. But I am literally going to walk through this with you. I'm going to walk the journey with you so that you can create your own script to thrive. It involves about 2 hours of training, relearning, unlearning, and 1 full hour of group coaching for you to address your specific needs and find the answers that are already within you. They're just buried underneath all of these messages that we are receiving from our society, from others, from the comparisons, from the judgments, from the inner critic, from our imposter syndrome, from our self-doubt and self-sabotage, so on and so on and so on. I mean, the list is endless. How do you put aside all of that muck that is holding you back and focus on who you need to be to thrive? Focus on what are the things you need to thrive. Focus on the actions that you need to take to thrive. That is what this masterclass is about. And I went through this masterclass, which is why I'm 100% confident in offering it, because I went through this journey. And I'm going to be the first and most vocal person to tell you that I would not be doing this live stream. I would not be in your space. I would not be in any space had I not gone through that personal journey on my own. It was excruciating, but it was necessary. Your hero's journey is the journey that you are on. That does not mean there are not resources out there to help you. I am a resource. And that is why I'm offering this to you. Because at the end of the day, what I want to ask you is, when I say, let's say we meet up 3 years from now, and let's say your life is everything that you want it to be, what would that look like? And what is holding you back from creating well-designed actions that are not dependent on the outcomes, but creating well-designed actions that are going to get you to where you want to be? Because goals are not something that we work toward. Goals are where we start from. When you set a goal and when you are intentional and focused about being that person you need to be, that is your starting point. And you reaching your goal is an inevitability. This masterclass is going to help you realize that. So if you are stuck in your thinking, if you are tired, if you are sick and tired of the judgments, of the criticisms, of all of these posts that say you either have to become the next Oprah in the next 2 days, or forget everything else, just binge watch Netflix. Neither of those two extremes are the answers. Neither. There is a middle path. And that middle path is for you to do whatever you can to understand better what is it that you need to thrive, and how do you go about creating a script for your life that makes sense to you, regardless of whether it makes sense to anybody else or not. Your productivity, your success, your leadership growth, your career growth, your personal growth are 100% dependent on you, not on other people's judgments. When you take control of your mental well-being, when you take ownership and you realize that you creating your own script is a conscious choice, even if it's a conscious choice that takes you 1 minute per day, 2 minutes per day, 5 minutes per day, however long you can dedicate, every second that you can be intentional about it is going to get you forward. That is when you start realizing, forget all judgments. They don't mean anything. I'm going to thrive as who I am, and I'm going to be the leader I've always known I was on the inside, because that inner fire, nothing can put that out. Nothing can get to it. And I'm going to nourish and nurture that inner fire. And I'm going to model it so that everybody around me also realizes this and starts seeing me, hearing me, valuing me, respecting me, and appreciating me, and recognizing me as a leader I always knew I was on the inside. That is what this Create Your Own Script for Thriving program is intentionally designed to do. So in this program, we're going to go over your mindset. We are going to help you unlearn all the things you need to clear out all that muck so that you can create the space, the mental and the soul space you need for you to connect with the deepest parts of you and understand, fully understand and realize what is it that you are going to need for you to thrive. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. It doesn't matter what stage of your career you're in. If you really want to be a conscientious, compassionate, people-centered leader, the answer lies within yourself. No amount of training that is going to be focused on your current role or task is going to help you get to that. But when you create your own script for thriving, there is no force on this planet that can hold you back. And I'm not just saying that because of my experience. Look at any of the biggest leaders that we know. They are able to face judgment, criticism, negative talk without internalizing it because they've created their own script, because they believe in themselves, because they know other people's ideas of them don't define their leadership skills or traits. I mean, Michelle Obama's Becoming is the biggest example I can think of that. She's from the South Side of Chicago, and that's all you need to know about her. Think about how powerful that statement is, but also think about the inner work that she had to do to make that statement without any additional explanation at all. You can get to that point too when you create your own script for thriving. So I really hope you join me this Saturday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Register for the event. I will put the event on the comments as soon as this live is done. Register for the event so that you can realize that you are the hero of your own journey. You can realize that you are the owner of your own destiny and that you are the star of your own journey, and that your path is yours and only yours. Nobody else gets to dictate it. If there is one thing I can do for leadership development over the course of the rest of my life, this would be it, is to tell you, you can be the leader that you want to be from the inside out. Yes, it's going to take work, but I will walk this journey with you every step of the way, and I will help you become the leader that you know you are on the inside in all aspects of your life. That is my purpose. That is what fills my cup, and it would be an honor to walk this journey with you. That's about it for me for this episode of the Leadership Code. Again, this is a bonus, so if you're catching this later, I hope this was helpful for you, and I hope this shifts your perspective on what you need to think about to become the leader that you know you can be on the inside, no matter how much you doubt yourself right now. That's it for me, and I will see you tomorrow for our regularly scheduled live stream at 8 p.m. I will be here if you have any questions, but I'm going to stop the live stream because we're done with the episode. Thank you all for tuning in, whether it's live or whether you're watching this later. And I truly, truly hope this live stream has helped shift your perspective to help you realize there are things in your life you can control, regardless of your circumstances, maybe even because of your circumstances, not in spite of them. But that choice ultimately is a conscious choice. You already know whether you're in or you're not. Don't waver on that. Make a decision to be who you need to be your best self, regardless of what that decision is. I love you all. Bye.